Hi there. On behalf of Perfect Game and Perfect Game Midwest, I'm PG's Vice President of Content and Executive Producer of PerfectGame.tv, Daron Sutton. Greetings from the Hoover Met, just outside of Birmingham, Alabama, where just a couple of days ago, Perfect Game's High School Showdown, what a grand tournament it was with teams from all over the country, wrapped up. And we thought we'd stay. We thought we'd stay and talk a couple of nights ago high school baseball and the high school age athlete with all you brand new PG Midwest folks. And then we thought we'd stay a couple of more days and talk youth baseball, because Perfect Game and Perfect Game Midwest are thrilled to be taking part in the future of your young son or daughter as they play youth baseball. Just thrilled about it. Really excited that we can answer some questions for you tonight. And I'm sure many of you may have some questions with regard to Perfect Game and going down market and dealing with the young athlete. We intend to answer them. First of all, I'm honored to be hosting this with you. I'm honored to be interactive with you. I think it's important as a company that Perfect Game always has that transparency. And we hope by the time this is all done, you've been informed, you've been entertained, and you've learned a little bit about Perfect Game, and more specifically, Perfect Game Midwest, because we're now coming into your region. We're coming into your home. And man, with Perfect Game, we are certainly thrilled that Perfect Game Midwest is not an affiliate, but part of the family. Very, very excited. And for those of you that are brand new to Perfect Game, we've got a short video, a very short video to share with you, introducing you. If you ask the question, who is Perfect Game? Well, here's the answer. We are Perfect Game. Perfect Game. Born in 1995 with the goal of opportunity. Opportunity for talented players in the middle of the United States to gain exposure, to develop their skills, and fuel their passion for the game they love, baseball. Born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, PG swiftly learned that if you always put the game, its young players, the coaches, and their families first, then PG's mantra could become gospel. Grow the game of baseball. More than 250,000 have committed to college. 85% of all players drafted have participated in a PG event. And the alumni roster that have gone on to the major leagues, it's nearly 1,500 deep.
Drives it deep right. Hayward, look.
Playing in the PG, which was the Aflac game, then meeting a ton of players that I'm playing against now. Those are the best moments of my life.
Freddie Freeman. So he was the first baseman on the team, and I actually played first base in high school, so we'll never forget those memories.
It was awesome. Just try to go up there and just launch, and just to prove that I have it.
41 players in the most recent unforgettable MLB All-Star game have, at one time or another, played in a PG event. And to attempt to put together an all-time roster, well, it would be a few effort without overlooking dozens and dozens of some of the best players in the world. So in growing the game of baseball, PG has managed to do so at every level, and there are countless aspirational and inspirational stories to tell, lessons to learn, and moments to remember. Perfect Game's ability to produce impactful and desirable content across all platforms has had a dynamic impact on the youth game, with 3 PG Sirius XM radio shows and a network reach of 35 million, a regularly released podcast, and nationally televised live events throughout the year. Gorman drives one to deep right field. Looking up is Cabell. Goodbye! And finally, the launch of PerfectGame.tv. And the media presence is fueled by interactivity, with an Instagram following pushing 500,000 and an active email database well beyond 500,000. You see, the next generation of players and fans will be able to take ownership of the game's growth and evolution. And growth is where we find ourselves. Estimated spending associated with the youth and amateur sports tourism market is expected to grow north of $20 billion. And PG has proven a model of economic impact within this developing space. In the recent calendar year of 2020, they hosted nearly 5,600 events, more than 66,000 teams, and 1 million plus players, responsible for 430,000 hotel room nights. And PG aspires to continue to make the baseball experience a family experience in places like Florida, California, New York, Arizona, and Texas, where the game
and the destination experience will be at a brand new level. There are perfect game events in every region of the country and, as of 2020, more and more globally. Perfect Game. Love the game. It's athletes and their dreams.
So as you can imagine, it's fun to be a part of this journey of these young athletes. I feel spoiled to have my job. Who else is going to be joining in my job tonight to inform you about Perfect Game and entertain you a bit? I'll show you the lineup from top to bottom of who's hanging out with us. Matt Williams and his insights coming up right around the corner. Kyle Bates as well, truly representing PG Midwest. You'll hear from Jerry Ford, the president and founder of Perfect Game. Hunter Pence will join us and join us live. Excited to have him in here. And Jeremy Brown, national cross-checker, with such a great perspective, because obviously Jeremy, a big part of building that 13 and 14-year-old age group, which means if you're 10, 11, and 12, Jeremy has some advice for you as you get to that 12-year-old, 13-year-old age group, if you're in the youth game, if you're a coach or a parent in the youth game. But I want to bring in a couple of guys right now that they're going to help me too. They're going to certainly help you local. I want to introduce you to Matt Williams, if you haven't already met Matt Williams, and Kyle Bates. As I said, Matt, the project manager for Perfect Game Midwest, and Kyle, ambassador high school and youth. Both have really cool baseball journeys that I want to talk about. But Matt, I just appreciate, we'll start with you. Thanks for spending time with us. I guess I'd like to know, Midwest Sports Production has done magical things and created a lot of memories and been a big part of so many families for quite some time now. Yet the decision to come into the Perfect Game family and join the Perfect Game family, not as an affiliate, but as part of the family. Explain to me the thought process that went into that decision, and how excited you guys are and why you made the decision.
Absolutely, Daron. It's good to be with you tonight. I think MSP, Midwest Sports Productions, was founded with the kids at our heartbeat. It was founded with the desire to bring people together and to create lifelong memories, and to create events that are really more than events, something that it helps use the power of sports to transform communities and change lives. And as Midwest Sports Productions started talking to Perfect Game and the opportunity started to present itself to potentially merge with Perfect Game, what we found was that our heartbeat for kids and their futures and their experience on the field completely aligned with Perfect Game. And more than that, Perfect Game they're a worldwide leader. So the resourcing, the platform, just the technology, the staff across the country, all of that, what it did for us is it gave us the ability to see what was possible in new and exciting ways, because it wasn't just us trying to do it on our own. Now we're part of the full Perfect Game family, the worldwide family. And it was just an opportunity we couldn't pass up.
So Kyle, my question is for you, and thank you for hanging out with us along with Matt. My question now, Kyle, is for you. And it's about the opportunity that these families have. And I say, hey, look, I've done Midwest Sports Production events for a long, long time. How will things feel a little bit different, Kyle, if in fact I'm doing a Perfect Game Midwest and I'm part of that? How, Kyle, will things feel differently for me?
Daron, I think the number one thing that sets us apart immediately is the tech platform that PG brings to the table. We have the unique opportunity to now bring this to the Midwest. Of course, it's been in Iowa for the past several years, but bringing things like perfectgame.tv and the streaming capabilities that are now on the way and will be here shortly for the profiles, as well as Diamondcast. Diamondcast is going to provide us the opportunity to bring the stats, the all-tournament teams, the scouting notes, the recaps, all of that, and encapsulate it within a player's profile, and then allow that player to continue his journey throughout his career and carry all of that with him. So it's creating memories, it's creating opportunity for players, for recruitment as they get older, as the journey continues. And I think that, we're very excited for that opportunity. But I think what we're most looking forward to is the fact that this is the same platform that's being used across the country.
Matt, it's funny because we don't know what we don't know, but I would argue that's a good thing. When you partner with a new company, you take all of your strengths and resources and merge with all of their strengths and resources. And you may not be to where in the youth game to where you want to be today or tomorrow, but you also know that you'll drive 100 miles past where you were with regard to opportunity for young athletes. 2021 is going to be a new and exciting year because there's going to be constant growth and evolution for the players, for their families, for the coaches, and for you guys, correct?
Absolutely. We have a lot on the way. I mean, obviously Kyle just talked about the technology and Diamondcast and the streaming and stuff like that. That's really exciting. And it's coming down the pike. The other thing, a couple other things we've had the opportunity to do is we have rewards programs that we've never had before, where we have diamond rewards where we get to give back to coaches and they get cashback rebates so that they can take that money and reinvest back in their program. We have our PG Midwest fan club. So parents and fans who, we all know that youth sports is all about the athletes, but we also know that it can't happen without the parents and the fans that spend hours and hours sitting at the park. So we have a fan club that's designed to give them gate discounts and concessions discounts and just resources to help their ballpark experience be more positive. And not only that, but then the scope of our events, because of our Midwest regional office and the states that we're hosting events in, we get to offer more events than we ever have before. And that just creates more opportunities for experiences and memories and development to take place. And we just couldn't be more excited.
So, Matt, I'm going to go back to you for one more. I promised Steve that I would alternate, but I have one more for you because you had me thinking about the fact that this opens up a door to travel to events, should you so choose to, maybe play that higher level of travel ball when you are younger in the youth game. But traveling's an option and it's not mandatory. When you are merging with Perfect Game, you are having right in your neighborhood, right very closely, Matt, you're having the opportunity to take part in high-level PG events right around the corner. Travel's an option. It's not mandatory.
Darren, that's such a good point. It's something we're so excited about because as the video reference, I mean, youth sports, it's an enormous billions and billions of dollars industry, and it's expensive. And what we get to do now is we get to make travel optional, like you said, rather than mandatory, so that families, if they don't want to travel, if they don't have the funds or they just don't want to,
right,
they can get the Perfect Game experience that the platform that you can't find anywhere else, they can find that closer to home. And for us, it's really exciting to be able to bring that to the Midwest region, to the states that we're covering. So families have more opportunities that are closer because traveling's fun. And we definitely recommend, take your trips and stuff, but you don't have to do that anymore to experience the Perfect Game event. And that is something that we're really proud to be able to do.
Hey, so Kyle, you had a unique journey as an athlete. We'll talk with Matt about his journey into professional baseball in college. But for you, as you got a little bit older, it was the recruiting process that, it went well, and it certainly you ended up playing college baseball. But in hindsight now, you wish you knew more. And maybe what the merger with Perfect Game and youth baseball and PG Midwest allows is knowledge. It allows the educational tool for the athlete that once he gets past 9, 10, 11, and 12, may be able to learn a little bit more about that college recruiting process. Yes?
Absolutely. We're really looking forward to the opportunity to help educate our young players, young athletes in the area. I think that the one thing that's really going to help is probably, the comparison of where they rank amongst others in their age group, their class, their graduating class across the country. That's really going to it's going to provide these kids the opportunity to see where they really rank up. And I think it's the truth that they need, and that they're going to be able to justify where they need to go in the future and what they need to work on. It's going to help with the development process. Like we said earlier with the tech platform, all the stats are collected within that profile, and college coaches are going to have access to that no matter what level you're at, whether it's D1, D2, D3. And we're excited to be able to bring that back to this area where it's really needed.
Yeah, it's very good stuff. And I kind of want to throw this out there and continue our conversation. I want to make it clear that not lost in any of this is the fun part, right? The fun, that baseball is a lot of fun. For me as a parent of a travel soccer player who played for a long, long time and opted to stop playing prior to college, that was always my goal. It's nice to be part of well-run events, but it's got to be fun. And I think, Matt, that's what's important, because you want to really provide, it feels like, especially in the youth game, you really want to provide experience. Then someday that experience may lead to opportunity, but you don't really get to the opportunity without doing a first class. I know fun, I don't mean to trivialize it by using the word fun, but fun matters, man. I mean, who wants to do something that's not school if it's not fun? So I think the experience equals the opportunity down the road should you want to chase it.
Absolutely. I mean, Perfect Game, it's the world leader in providing opportunities to help baseball players accomplish their dreams at the college and the professional level. But the really important thing, especially with youth baseball, is that if the athletes themselves aren't having a positive experience, then they're not going to stay in the game, and they're not going to develop the passion that it takes to pursue big goals and to go accomplish those things. So everything we do, with the way we communicate, with the schedules that we make, with the way that we decorate the parks, with the stuff that we provide to the athletes and coaches and the parents, it is fundamentally designed to create a positive and, yes, fun, because you can have competition and fun. Those things aren't mutually exclusive at all. But to have a positive and fun experience, we believe that's the core purpose of youth sports, because that gets kids excited, that keeps them in the game, that allows them to learn more life lessons through the power of sports. So everything from, the time they leave their driveway to the time they go home after the event, we're thinking through, what is this experience going to be like, and how can we make that as positive and energizing and as fun as possible?
So, and I want to follow up to Kyle and Matt and share something with you from a PG kind of global perspective. If your athlete takes part in a PG event as a team member, just a team member, not a showcase, I mean, that's an option when they get older, they're going to have a profile page. They're going to have their own video baseball card, basically, that has the stats. When the guys talk about Diamondcast is a Perfect Game developed scoring app, which, as it continues to evolve within the next months and or year, will have a video component each and every time. Now, not all of them will be 4-camera streams like we did here, but there will at least be one camera with every single login to the scoring app where your son or daughter is playing baseball. And I think that's important to point out. What is the Perfect Game difference? That's the difference. And you're on that same database with Bobby Witt, who's knocking on the big league door for the Kansas City Royals. We covered his events. He's going to have his profile page, and you're going to have yours if you're an 8 or 9-year-old going with your team to play in an event. And so I think that's really, really important to point out, exciting to point out, certainly. Hey, Matt, I want you quickly to tell me about your baseball journey. I know we're going to bring you back here in just a little bit, but I'm underselling your impact. Like we talked a little bit about Kyle's journey. You made it, to the next level. I'm sure you did much better than I. They sent me home with an 11 ERA from rookie ball. I want to hear about your experience and what you learned along the way. What experientially you bring to these family as a leader with PG Midwest.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Daron. So I started out playing on just a little league coach pitch team. And then I played on a city team until I was 12. I mean, we called ourselves a travel ball team, but the reality is there's a bunch of neighborhood kids, and we had some dad coaches, and we signed up for some tournaments. And, as I started to get a little older, we started to do some tryout teams. And it really wasn't until I was a sophomore in high school that I started to look at showcases, and actually went to a Perfect Game showcase for the first time as a sophomore. And so Perfect Game was a part of my journey. And then started playing on some more elite teams and going to Worldwood Bats and Jupiter and all that. And was fortunate enough, I earned a scholarship to Duke University. I played catcher there, started for 4 years. And then after I graduated, I got drafted by the Cubs and got to see my professional baseball dreams come true. So I didn't last too long because my knees started giving out as a catcher, but I wouldn't trade any inning for the world. And, Perfect Game was a part of my process getting to Duke, and then getting to Duke is what allowed me to grow and develop and end up playing professional baseball. So what I'm excited about right now is I know that who I am and what I want to do in terms of a career is I want to give back to the game that has made me the person that I am today. The lessons I learned, the people that invested in me, the positive experiences on a field that I'll never forget, even the losses and the failures that you learn from, those fundamentally shaped me as a person. And I could not be more excited that now I have the opportunity with Perfect Game Midwest to try to create those same experiences and the same standards that can develop other young people to accomplish their dreams, but equally as important, arguably more importantly, to develop them as people, because everybody's going to be a husband and a father and a community leader someday.
So he's right, by the way, folks. He does have PG experience. I don't know if I'm showing you this there. There he is. Yeah. Check him out. I mean, that is good stuff right there. That is a big league head of hair too, I got to admit. I'm proud that was shared with me. You're right. That is PG experience. We're going to bring you back in just a minute. Matt, I want to have you come in after Hunter. Kyle, I want to throw you a little bit of a curveball here, and there is no wrong answer to this question. So in the world of youth baseball, what can we all do better? And I mean any baseball organization, any parent, the coaches themselves. What kind of standards do we need to hold ourselves to make this whole experience even better than it currently is? Let's just put them on us. What can we at PG Midwest and Perfect Game do even better?
The one thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that the kids are having fun. I think the game gets away from us all at times. We get competitive. We want to win. But at the end of the day, we just need to make sure that the kids are having fun and it's a great environment for them to grow and learn life lessons. That's what we're all here for. And we just see it week in, week out, where there's a lot of ugly instances where maybe the emotions get away from us. And I think we all, including coaches, umpires, parents, all of us need to just take a step back and remember why we're here. And it's for the kids, and it's creating a great environment for them to grow up.
Man, that's perfectly said. I appreciate your insights, my friend. Thanks for spending time with us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Kyle Bates, great insights, and his leadership certainly as one of the key guys with Perfect Game, ambassador of high school and youth baseball at Perfect Game Midwest. So PG Midwest, when they became a part of the family, I was excited to get to work with my production partner, Steve, and tell a little bit of their story in a short vignette. Here is their story, which many of you know already.
Welcome home to the newly formed Perfect Game Midwest, a home embodied by joy, memories, trust, and growth. A home that sits solidly on the foundation laid by Perfect Game Softball, and Midwest Sports Productions. For more than a quarter century, Perfect Game has provided the platform for hundreds of thousands of athletes to find their way to college baseball, the professional ranks, and even the major leagues, with nearly 1,500 reaching that pinnacle. They've been responsible for the new era of the championship destination event, driving the evolution of diamond sports. PG and PG Softball have always placed the athletes, their families, and coaches first, with well-run, impactful events. Now, Midwest Sports Productions, the pace car and youth fast pitch and baseball events blanketing the heart of America, joins forces, standards, and aspirations with PG to form Perfect Game Midwest. The winner? You. Your journey, your family, your dreams, your home. And from ours to yours, welcome home to Perfect Game Midwest.
And it feels like home, certainly. I mean, it absolutely does when you consider the avenue and the opportunity for young athletes to spend time with their families and playing the sport they love. It's a ties that bind. I mean, look, I have an opportunity over the last, 5 or 6 years in this position with Perfect Game to see players like Jordan Adele and Jared Kelnick go almost all the way to the major leagues and to see what they've been able to do. And when I go and I talk with them and say, hey, I'd like to talk with you about when you were young, they're all glad to do it. Those are some of their finest memories. They share memories of running around we talked with Cody Bellinger last year, talked about, his opportunity to run around the hotels and have fun memories and do travel ball with friends and teammates. When Jerry Ford founded Perfect Game back in 1995, he did it as a dad and he did it as a coach, trying to provide opportunity for athletes in a flyover state that weren't getting as many looks as they should have at USC, UCLA, University of Washington, and places like the University of Florida. That's what Jerry Ford was trying to do, certainly. And so that's why he started Perfect Game. Well, it's grown to send more than 1,500 players to the major leagues as a platform. And it's grown also to have where it saw 20,000 teams last year. And just a crazy, crazy growth. And because things have been done right. Jerry knew I was having this conversation with all of you with Perfect Game Midwest, the families and the friends and the coaches. And he wanted me to share some thoughts. Here's our conversation leading up to this and about this.
First of all, I'd like to welcome Jeremy, Tori, and all the people with Midwest Sports. We're excited to have you now associated with Perfect Game and Midwest Perfect Game. I know I get asked a lot, how and why did we start Perfect Game in the first place? I'll try to give you the short version. Back in 93 and 94, I was a college coach. And we had a very good team, small college, in Iowa. We had a very good team, a lot of talent, especially for a small college. But even though I had a background being a scout, I couldn't get the scouting community interested enough to come out and watch these kids play. And what ended up happening was we had two pitchers that ended up pitching in the big leagues, and we had a center fielder that made it to AAA, and we had two other kids that played minor league baseball on that one team. But yet I couldn't get the scouting community interested at all. And it just dawned on me because of a situation I had with my own kids. I had two boys that played baseball and were both very good at it. So both of my sons did end up playing professional baseball. Neither one of them were recruited by any Division I college. My youngest son actually pitched in the big leagues for the Yankees, the Brewers, and the Diamondbacks. But yet, there was no colleges, no interest out of high school, no anything. And this is despite the fact that, hell, I had good relationships with pretty much all the area scouts. It's interesting because you folks are also in the Midwest. So you probably know what I'm talking about to a certain extent, other than the fact that it's Iowa rather than Kansas or Missouri or any of the surrounding states where the seasons are different. And so we did. Iowa was pretty much considered. I had my friends tell me that Iowa's just too hard to scout. And so I basically told them that, well, we're going to do something about that. And we did. All the kids were benefiting. We turned Iowa into the easiest of all states to cover, because now scouts would flock to these weekend games that we were having, because instead of going to 100 different high school games in the summertime, they could go to one place in the spring and see the top 100 players. And I try to tell our people all the time that I have no interest in being number two. I don't have any interest in being one of the best. Our interest is being number one and being the best. So along those lines, we strive to do everything that we can, the very best possible way that we can do it. And over the years, we've gained a nice reputation for honesty, integrity, and doing things the right way and treating people the right way. And that's one of the reasons why we're excited to partner with Midwest Sports, because we truly believe that you guys share our thoughts on that.
Yeah, outstanding stuff from Jerry Ford, and obviously his insights and his depth. He founded it with the right intentions, and it's grown because of that. You jumped in to hear a keynote speaker too, and I want to encourage you in your chat sessions to drop questions in for our keynote speaker, Hunter Pence. And we're excited to be joined by Hunter Pence. He's my co-host on Perfect Game College Baseball as well. Brings so much wisdom to the table, even though he's still such a young man, such a young, fit man. Hunter, these folks are thrilled to have you in Perfect Game Midwest territory and sharing some insights for you. I'm going to give you the floor for just a moment, as I said, then we'll chat. You know, there's a lot of young coaches out there, Hunter. There's a lot of young parents with young athletes, not even necessarily high school age, Hunter, but maybe 10, 11, and 12-year-olds. And so I'll let you start with just a welcome to them and some words of wisdom that you have.
All right, Daron. Well, I'm jumping in here a little bit off the cuff, but
For sure.
Obviously, youth baseball is where it all starts. It's all about fun, but everything has been enhanced, so to speak, with the information age. Everything is out there, and if you have it in your heart and you love the game of baseball, there's so much more information than was out there. I had to create my own programs and all this stuff because there was none of that there. But I would encourage everyone in the perfect game or in these little leagues and that wants to improve, you got to put in the work. If you put in the work, you're going to get back. What you put in is what you get back. So, find ways to practice every day and incremental practice. To me, it's consistency is one of the greatest things in all of baseball. And if I was to just talk about one of the coolest memories of me as a kid in baseball, and I had some great parents and stuff around me. I remember we used to pack a lunch and we would go and practice, 2 times a day. We'd have we'd eat breakfast, we'd drive out, we'd practice till whatever, eat our lunch, and then have another couple whatever of practice. But we were committed to it. And those teams that I was on, we didn't lose very often because we were more prepared than the other team. And I always, throughout my whole career, it always thought, chance favors the prepared mind. And can you ever control everything in baseball? No, but you can control your preparation. You can control having fun. You can control enthusiasm. You can control your attitude. So to me, I just loved baseball so much. It was easy for me. I looked forward to those weekends where we packed the lunch and practiced 2 times. So if it's in your heart, if you're in here listening to this, you obviously care. And my message would be to put in the work, to do the research. The information's out there.
Yeah, that's great stuff. What a great piece of advice. Hunter, you and I have had this conversation before you joined as a host on our great show, and you did an amazing job, by the way. And I asked you kind of some early memories, and you just shared one about packing a lunch, but you have a handful of coaches, whether it be, when you were very young or whether when you were in college, but you definitely look back and have a small group of coaches that really impacted you, that even, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hunter, even if you didn't turn out to be a Major League Baseball player, they impacted you as a man, and you would have been successful at whatever you did, in part because of the leadership of some of these coaches. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think it's a huge responsibility on these coaches to impart those principles. I think the words that came out of Ford, who just came before me, 2 of the most important values in my life is honesty and integrity. And one of the most difficult people to be the most honest with is yourself. It's easy to make excuses and it's easy for these things, but being taught that, could I have done more? And sometimes as long as you're giving your best. So I think my college coach, some of my high school coaches, Don Warner, really helped me out a lot in high school. There was a Mr. Coach Riddle who was incredible, but instilling the proper values and doing things the right way and earning everything, not expecting, I guess a lot entitlement, so to speak, and staying humble no matter how good you are, and making others around you better. So honesty and integrity are at the top of my list as far as values and just going about it the right way.
Was there still, even from the last moment you walked away, still the little kid in you that played the game? Look, I've talked, your level of intelligence and controlling the mind is over the top. And I've learned that co-hosting with you. I really have. But there's also a youthful exuberance that you have. And to the moment you walked away and handed your stuff back in with the Giants, did you still tiny bit feel like you were a lucky little kid to be playing baseball?
Absolutely. And I still feel like a lucky kid to get to talk baseball and to get to tell stories. And I do have lots of fun stories, and there's a lot of fun along the way. But I like to think of the childlike spirit as a better player. And you watch a lot of the best players. You see like a Francisco Lindor, a lot of very successful players. They have a smile because love, the energy of love and the energy of fun and the playful spirit, finds a way to success a lot more often. It's attractive. It's fun to be around. I think one of the greatest leaders I was ever around, and not many people really know this about him in the clubhouse because he didn't speak English that great, was Santiago Casilla. And this guy was always bringing energy And it took a little extra effort to, woo, and all of this stuff. Wake up, Giants, baby, Giants coming, we the best, baby. He would just like say these things, and you just, bring people alive, and that's part of the fun of baseball is the community, the fellowship, the friendship, and just jazzing and moving everybody around. But to me, the mental part, the energy part, the enthusiasm part, it takes effort. It takes conscious effort. And it was I would say it's the most important, and it was a lifelong study. Baseball and the competition to be the best teaches you self-mastery, because you have to master yourself to be able to accomplish these things. And mastering the mind is the number one most important thing to master.
Real quick, you cut out for 1 sec, or it may have been me. Who was the name of the guy that fired you up?
Oh, Santiago Casilla.
Ah, there you go.
He was a closer for many years and bounced around like the last 7, 8, 9 innings. But those are the hardest innings. And this guy, all day, every day, I got to tell you a story about him. He would look at me because I was always eating kale and vegetables and healthy foods. And he would grab his plate and he'd look at me and he called me power. He said, "Power. Does food have power?" And I'd say, "Yeah, that has power. Let's go." And he'd be in the weight room. He'd go, "Power. We working on our power right now." And just, always talking about power, always using his words for strength, always using his words to tell us, we could have lost 3 in a row. And he'd go, "Wake up, Giants, we're coming, baby." All he ever said every day, "Wake up, Giants, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming." And he's coming for power. It was pretty sweet.
Oh, that's awesome. Got a quick question here, and you've kind of touched on it, but you can spin it just a little bit, Hunter, coming in the chat. It's from Logan from Kansas City, and he says, what's one thing or one piece of advice you wish someone would have told you when you were playing youth or school baseball?
You know what? Honestly, I would be that, you are enough, and what you're doing is enough. And to like, I would say, and I kind of gave it to you already, is consistency over massive amounts of work. I thought I could like do it all. I wanted it to happen so fast. I would try to do all of the work in one day. And I think a balanced, consistent work is way stronger in the long run than just hit until your hands bleed over and over. And I remember hearing that, and I've done it plenty of times. But balanced, consistent work and doing a little bit of everything. I always wish that I would have found ways to do better work at plate discipline as a hitter. So that would be the thing that I would stick to, is trusting the process, which I learned earlier, and consistency over overworking.
So this is from Daron, and he's in Birmingham sitting in this chair. This is the question from me. And it's a little kid question. What's it like to win a World Series, to look at your teammates and to realize we accomplished the ultimate goal, at least for this year? The ring comes later, but that moment when you look at all your teammates and you celebrate the ultimate prize, what's that like?
I mean, it's a tremendous relief, first of all, because you're stressed out for months in advance. It's just like the most beautiful stress you could ever imagine. But it's this tremendous relief because you have so much focus, so much anxiety, so much effort, so much energy. And once that moment happens, it finally releases. So it's this jubilation, and it's this powerful, powerful relief, and really it's the struggle finally ends, because no matter what, like it's a struggle every day at the highest level, and at whatever level you're at, you're struggling to be the absolute best you can. And for a moment, you just witnessed, you got to be a part of greatness, and you got to be a part of a team that accomplished something bigger than themselves. And we did it for each other. So it was just this great relief.
Amazing. This is from Peyton. This is for you, Hunter. He says, what did you do during your off-season grind when you were a player?
Honestly, I constantly was changing and experimenting and working on things, and I was kind of a scientist of the game and a scientist of myself. And I think there's way more information out now than there was before. But I put together all sorts of weird schemes. And I think one of the craziest ones I had is we had one of these machines that could throw, sliders, right-hand sliders, left-hand sliders, fastballs. This is when I was with the Astros, very in my young days. And we would put someone to hit in there until their hands hurt, while the other two played ping pong as hard as they could. We weren't even playing games. We were just trying to slam it as hard as we could and see how long we could rally with slams. So we're just working on hand-eye coordination. And then once that person got tired, he switched in and the other two would go. And we would do this for about 2 hours after our workouts.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I love it. The things you never think of, experimenting. You know what I hear from that? And I have another question for you. You know what I hear from that? and obviously the machine part of it, that a young athlete could have that kind of machine in his home. But I also hear creativity is everything, right? If even like we're still in a pandemic, maybe you have a tube of tennis balls, maybe you have a dozen tennis balls. I hear in that if you have anything resembling a ball, a wall, anything, you can get work in and be creative with anything close, right?
Absolutely. This wasn't at my home, by the way. I was still kind of young this was at like a country club that just had a ping pong room. It had a weight room. So we would go there to like work out, lift weights, work out together.
Wow.
I had a tennis courts and stuff. So honestly, like I just wanted to work on hand-eye coordination and like fast twitch because baseball happens so fast. So like ping pong to me was that hand-eye coordination. And so we were doing that along with like over-tuning the machines to make us a little bit better.
Incredible.
But yeah, I do think creativity is huge.
Incredible, Hunter. This is from the Kansas City Royals fan watching. And the question is, what was your favorite 2014 World Series moments and your memories of Kansas City?
So my favorite 2014 World Series moment, it's tough to beat Game 7, but honestly, I remember after I think Pablo catching the ball, Bumgarner coming in out of the bullpen was pretty iconic. Talking to him before that game when he was saying it was just the mind. It's the mind. I can pitch today. I feel fine. It's all mental. And I was just like, dude, this guy's a savage. And he was so focused and so locked in. It was crazy. But I also remember, Michael Morse's sweet little blooper base hit to score a pretty clutch run. I remember yelling at Pablo at second. He'll tell you about this. I told him on the fly ball that Gordon had to run back on. I was yelling at him to tag up. You got to go for it. You got to go for it. And him getting the third right there is why we were able to score on Morse's little blooper. So that was something that I'll never forget. And obviously when Blanco kind of missed the thing and then Perez couldn't pick up the ball, and all of that in Game 7, where I was like, "What the heck? Why are we unraveling? We talk about staying calm, and everything went haywire." But Bumgarner didn't. It didn't mess him up at all. He just stayed locked in.
Those some crazy fans in Kansas City, weren't they?
It was the loudest. There in Pittsburgh in the wild card game were the two loudest I think I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Hey, I'm going to let you go with one more, and I know you need to get back to living your life. Everyone here appreciates this. What's our responsibility as big people? I don't even mean parents. Maybe I mean coaches or somebody who, hosts a radio show that talks to college athletes like you or is partnered with a youth baseball academy or a mom or a dad. What's our responsibility to raise the game as we raise our young people towards those young people?
I think a big responsibility is to not push results and winning as much as effort and attitude and giving your best and working to get better, learning from failures. Because like sometimes in these youth leagues, everyone wants to win and only results. And you start putting these kids in traps where they're never good enough, and let them know that I don't care if you win, lose, or draw. If you come in prepared and you come in and you hustle and you come in and you play hard, you've already won. And I think the responsibility is to do it with love, to do it with life lessons that make you stronger, and let them know to hold their head up high, win, lose, or draw. As long as they're prepared, they're making adjustments, and they're giving their all. Because if you give your all, that's enough. And a lot of times that wasn't enough for me. If I didn't win, I wasn't enough. I think it's important to teach these powerful values and core values that will lead you to succeeding in life.
Wow. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate you joining us. Be safe. Take care of your family, obviously, and you and I will connect when we host our show. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Amazing. Hunter Pence. How about the wisdom and the insights that you hear there from Hunter Pence? And what a treat that was, the passion. We're lucky. Look, we're lucky. I'm lucky. Every Monday morning, we crank up our recording. It airs on Tuesday nights, but we're so lucky. He is just learning. And look, I'm going to give you a little bit behind the scenes, all you parents and coaches that are taking this in right now in the PG Midwest family. What makes Hunter fun is that he constantly is taking notes when every college coach is talking that we have on the show. And he's taking notes, trying to learn. And many times when the call is over, when we have finished the interview portion of the recording, he says, "Hey, can I get your number? I have more questions I'd like to ask you. I want to learn how you do things at Georgia, how you do things at Wichita State. I want to learn how you're doing things." It's amazing. It's amazing. This is the furthest thing from a guy who should know it all from playing all the time. He's constantly learning. The other part about Hunter Pence that matters, and you probably see it if you follow his social media, is how much the community matters to him. Right now, because of the pandemic, he's just stayed put in San Francisco. And so go to his social media, see how much he's giving back to the community, those that are in need. Those are the values of Perfect Game. Those are the values of Perfect Game Midwest. And I know from afar that one of the reasons that PG Midwest and PG came together so nicely are those values and the ability to give back. Look, Jerry Ford, his daughter Jennifer Ford, who's the executive director of the PG Cares Foundation, Jerry's mantra is, I want to give back. I want to raise the platform of baseball, but also all those that can't get out of their communities, that can't play, that need help, that are battling pediatric cancer, families of children with autism. Perfect Game puts that front and center. And before we get to our final two guests, a quick reminder how important PG Cares is to all of this that goes on, including the relationship with Perfect Game and Perfect Game Midwest. PG Cares.
Our founder, Jerry Ford, had a vision on wanting to have a mechanism with which to give back for all the success that the platform of PG for profit has found. So Perfect Game Cares was created as that mechanism.
Wherever we'd go, I'd always be drawn to the worst part of town. I just had this desire to get a feel for how everybody lived. It made me think, how the heck did anybody get out of this situation? And so I got to thinking, well, there's got to be something that can be done about this. And that's where we came up with the idea of Perfect Game Cares.
To hear about the Perfect Game Cares program, how they're going to help a lot of underprivileged kids is pretty special. Something that started as in such infancy stages 25 years ago has grown to an international platform. Is not anything short of amazing, but it's all because of his passion and what he saw a desire to help his kids in his area.
It's not all about teaching them sports. It's about teaching kids from the inside out. It's always good, like I said, to reach back to help somebody climb that ladder that you have climbed.
I see myself in the kids. I grew up in similar situations. I was able to make it out of those situations, realize my dreams. I just feel like it's a part of my life to give back and share those experiences, the things that I utilize to overcome those things and be a success.
There's nothing greater than seeing kids know that in their heart of hearts, they may want to be a professional sports athlete. They maybe want to become a teacher, fireman, and they're getting these options. So Perfect Game Cares is giving these kids the opportunities to succeed in more ways than one, and not just sports, but however throughout life. And they're doing a great job.
There's a lot of kids that don't have that guidance or leadership sometimes. And what Perfect Game Cares does is we go out there and try to give them that assistance to let them know that we're here for them.
You know, I truly believe that if you have someone that believes in you and you have the resources needed, you can do a lot in this world.
The Perfect Game Cares Foundation. With help, children can rise. Find out how you can help by visiting perfectgamecares.org.
It matters. It absolutely matters for Perfect Game, and I'm proud to be part of the family too. I want to bring in for some insights with regard to kind of the scouting and development piece of the 10, 11, 12, and then when you get to 13-year-old athlete, Perfect Game's national cross-checker, Jeremy Brown. Jeremy has been really the heartbeat of helping to create the 12, 13, and 14-year-old Select Festival. You came in early, H. We appreciate you hanging out with us late. This is mainly for youth baseball, right? This forum, but a lot of these youth players you see as they get into the 11 and 12-year-old age group. What separates in your mind, HPG, especially at that 11, 12, 13-year-old age group from maybe other events? What separates for you as a scout?
So not only are we giving these kids kind of a platform, we're giving them the recognition they deserve. People like to say, well, they're 11, they're 10, they're 12 years old. How do you know who's going to stand out and which player is going to develop? And right now we're just looking at the kids who are the best of their age groups, giving everybody a chance to shine. I mean, with perfectgame.tv covering the World Series down in Georgia last year, with the Select Festivals getting younger, starting at 14, going down to 12, implementing the 12U game last year. Now we're getting to see those kids kind of come through, start their journey, their process, and just giving them that platform, that type of exposure at such an early age, letting them feel like little superstars is kind of what I think is really cool about us doing it at this age group.
Yeah, it's fun, H. And I want to ask you, I talked about it earlier, the Perfect Game player page. You really, I mean, I don't know how you've had the time, but you really have put your hands into the creation on the website, and PG's lucky because of it. But the heartbeat of all the visitations, the player page, right? The rankings, but that's a little bit older than 10, 11, and 12. The rankings and the player pages. I don't have a network without that. Everyone's coming to see what you guys are doing. So tell me a little bit about, just from your perspective, be an outsider, insider, on if I'm 11, I go play with my team at a PG event, I get a player page. What's cool about that?
So you get to see all your stats, and within those stats, they get broken up per event. You can see where you rank amongst the daily performers with the top scores, whether you're a pitcher, whether you're a hitter. As you get a little older, you get to see where your metrics kind of stack up. As you get to showcases, you start breaking down other analytical type stuff, where you compare on a national level, where you compare your position in state. So even as a young kid, if you haven't done a showcase yet, down the road you're going to, but you get all your other stats, see how you compare, and kind of start building your baseline moving forward.
I got a great question just came in here in the chat room, and I think I'd love to hear you answer it. As a matter of fact, I have no idea where you'll go with this. And it says, I'm curious to the thoughts about a multi-sport athlete versus someone who is just specifically staying with baseball only, especially at this age, like, let's start at maybe 8 or 9 and go all the way up to 12, playing multiple sports. Your thought?
I think keep going with it as long as you can. I mean, we're still seeing kids now committing 2 sports at a high level. Caden Martin just a couple of weeks back committed to Miami as quarterback and outfielder. I get videos from parents all the time of their kids not even playing baseball, whether it's track, whether it's football, whether it's even basketball or hockey. We don't get many hockey players, but being in the Northeast, we do come across a couple. Just teaches different types of explosiveness, allows you to be athletic in different ways, whether it's basketball or football compared to whether you're on a diamond. And you can go about and do all your specific trainings, your velocity trainings, your drills, all your hitting lessons. But along with the other sports, you're getting to see different levels of competition. And it just exposes you to a whole nother slate of athleticism. And I mean, I think it's great to just play as long as you can, as many sports as you can.
Considering the age group, boy, that's good advice. Considering the age group, Jeremy, what advice do you have for moms and dads? Some of them might be still pretty darn young right now, a lot younger than I am, certainly. But considering this, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old age group, what advice do you have for parents?
Sit back and have fun. Enjoy the ride. You're at the beginning of a special and fun trip. I mean, I've been able to talk with parents from 13. A lot of them have just graduated from the very first festival games. We're seeing those players go off to college, seeing them get drafted. And all throughout, you get little text messages from the parents saying, man, I can't believe this. Thanks for the experience. And by the time they reach that senior year, they say, I'm so sad it's over. We're not traveling anymore. And I'd say sit back, enjoy, don't rush anything. The college commitments are going to come. There's no need to press. There's no need to get caught up in any of that right now. Just you're at a really fun age, and just enjoy every moment of it.
And you're getting old enough now, H, where you're talking to, and you're still such a young man, but you've been around these athletes long enough to where some of them have played their way out of the game, right? And you're probably having conversations with some that you saw when they had stars in their eyes, and they've played their way out of the game, and they've gone on to grow, be a college student, maybe a young professional. How cool is it to kind of share that commonality in the background that they once were dreaming of being Jordan Adele or Hunter Green? It's still, no matter if you end up being a really good, whatever you do professionally, is a big part of your journey, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. Not everyone's going to go on and play professional baseball. And just being able to stay in contact with some of the guys outside once it's all over, whether they come back to even work for us. It's the relationships you build that really matter the most in what we do. And being able to stay in touch with those guys has been just as awesome as watching the other guys go on to pro ball or college baseball.
Incredible stuff, Jeremy. Thanks. You hung with us for a while. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sutton.
Outstanding stuff from Jeremy Brown. And if Matt Williams is still with us, I just kind of wanted to give him an opportunity to have the final word. So, Matt, you heard it all. You hung around. We put you on the shelf for a while, and you heard what Hunter Pence had to say. And obviously, you know about PG Cares. That matters to you guys. It matters to Jeremy McDowell, your boss man, the guy who runs the show there. It all matters to you. What final thoughts do you have for those families, those friends that still may have more questions about who is Perfect Game Midwest? I think we did an okay job, but what are your final thoughts as we say goodbye tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Daron. I think the first thing is that, we have a dedicated customer care team. So if anybody has questions, wants to learn more, please reach out to us, because that's literally why we're there, is to take care of athletes and parents and coaches as our customers. But the thing that really strikes me, and the thing that gets me out of bed, and that why you see the passion in Hunter Pence, and you see the reason Perfect Game has existed, is why are we all here? And at the end of the day, it's for the kids, it's for the athletes. The things like the umpires and the fields and the bracket play and the pool play, those are all just minimum requirements to even put on a tournament. And those are important. And with Perfect Game, as you heard from our founder, we have every intention of being the best at those things. But we fundamentally believe that youth sports is more than a tournament. It's something that should last beyond when the last game is over on a Sunday. And whether it's bringing people together, working in the community to not only create an event on the field, but also give back to the community off of the field, creating lifelong memories that bring families and communities together, and then ultimately instilling a passion for the game. Because as Hunter Pence said, you got to work for it. And he said he'd go to 2-a-days because he absolutely loved it. And so the question of why are we all here and what is this all for? That's the thing that wakes us up in the morning. That's the thing that helps us work hard every day to bring Perfect Game to the Midwest, through Perfect Game Midwest, because it's for the kids. And we want to create the best possible experience that leads to every possible opportunity on or off the field for as many athletes as we possibly can.
Matty, I'm fired up, man. That's excellent stuff. Thank you very much for your insights. Thank you, Perfect Game Midwest. Thank you to Matt Williams. Thank you to Kyle Bates for coming on and representing Perfect Game Midwest. Thank you, Hunter Pence. Wow. Joining us from his home and coming in to share advice for you as our keynote speaker. Thank you, Jerry Ford, for the conversation in advance of this that we had the other day. And thank you, Jeremy Brown. Look, I'm noticing this with Perfect Game, and it scares me, but it's a reality of life. These men are such great evaluators of talent, but they're also good men and women. As Perfect Game grows in the softball space, they're getting stolen by major league teams. Greg Girard, a great scout like Jeremy, we just lost to the Chicago Cubs because he's so good at what he does. But there's going to be a new wave, and Jeremy Brown is so impacted the 12, 13, and 14U age group, and it's that kind of intelligence and passion. So there you have it. Here we are. We're Perfect Game. We're Perfect Game Midwest. Visit the website. Follow Perfect Game Midwest socially. As was said by Matt, reach out to them. Ask questions. Ask if you don't understand, and then come play baseball. Come play softball. Come be a part of who we are. And I'm excited to meet all of you. We'll be bringing our story, our Perfect Game TV story, to you very, very soon. On behalf of the smartest man in the room, Steve Banta, my senior producer and guide and guru of all things technology, my name is Daron Sutton on behalf of PG from Birmingham, Alabama. We'll let them turn the lights off now. Have a good night.